That even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We're going to start calling you Scott Randolph Hearst Fawn. You've got magazines, newspapers.
Everything you think about the establishment media, you're right. There is a extreme anti-Trump bias, and there is a significant liberal bias. The Trump drives these people nuts. If you're trying to do a fair job in media, the Caitlin Collins of the world make your life harder.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse from Reach Reproductive Health, and I need you to mark your calendar because on October 22nd, it's going to be a big night in St. Louis. It's going to be our second annual Reach Gala, and it's happening at the factory. Incredible live music, powerful speakers, a night to celebrate life, and to support the Reach mission. Stay tuned to find out who's taking the stage. I promise you won't want to miss it. Registration is open right now at outreachforlife.org/gala.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
The time to rise has been engaged. We're better, best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song. Your finest hour. Your finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Friday afternoon. Wrapping up a busy week here on Colombo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. We had an election this week. We had executive orders this week. We had more of the same when it comes to Iran this week. We've got new UFO videos to talk about. Yeah, baby. And we've got so much more to talk about as we go through the day today. We're going to get you up to speed on all the important stuff from this week. Also get you up to speed on the latest happening in this world as we get you ready for your weekend. and then we'll get you off into your weekend with a little Friday fun time at the end of the show. We always like to have fun at the end of Fridays, and we will do that today as we hopefully send you off to the weekend with a smile on your face, but also fully informed and caught up on everything happening in this crazy world. We're going to talk to the former mayor of Ferguson, Missouri, the city manager of Troy, Missouri, Mayor James Knowles, in the 3 o'clock hour. What a perfect person to talk to. We talked to James last on election night, and, you know, we've had a lot of conversation with a lot of folks since Tuesday's elections about the impact and about what had happened on Tuesday and what it means for the future and what to focus on next and all of these sort of things. But I love to talk to James about these issues because he looks at them from a different perspective. He has that, inside municipality management, city management, perspective. And he just, he sees some things and can point out some things that happen in these elections that maybe aren't as obvious or apparent to other people. And I've talked to him a little bit since the election, off the air. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to talk to him on the air again, where he's revealed, where we've talked about some of these really important things that happen and what kind of impact that they could have going forward. So I'm really looking forward to unpacking more of the election results with James. Also touching on the future with him, talking about some of the current issues and stories happening in our local area. So always great to talk to the former mayor of Ferguson, Missouri, James Knowles, who will be with us in the 3 o'clock hour. Also in the 3 o'clock hour today, we're going to talk to Kristen Cornett, Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. We will get the weekend forecast from Kristen. I believe it's going to get hot again. Don't take my word for it, though, and don't make your plans until you hear from Kristen, because I could be wrong about that. But I think the heat's back. But we'll find out from Kristen Cornett about 3:20 this afternoon, so a little more than an hour from now, about an hour and 10 minutes from now, we'll get you that all-important weekend forecast. And in just about 10 minutes from now, we're going to talk to Paul Kurtman from PR Kurtman Investments. Paul always checks in with us on Mondays to get us a beginning of the week market check and check on the economy. And this week, he's able to give us the end of the week check as well, which is really good. Usually on Fridays, we start the show with Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show, of course. But Ken has been out this week on a little vacation, which is well-deserved. Ken will be back with Vic on Monday, and he'll be back in here with us next Friday. And it's awesome that we are able to have Paul jump into that spot and talk to us about the economy, the situation in Iran, the situation with gas prices, all of these things that play into this conversation about the impact on our lives, on our economy, on the markets. There's a lot of outside pressure there. The elections will have that as well. So we'll be able to unpack some election stuff. Look forward to the midterm elections with Paul, talk about what's happening in Iran, talk about where the markets are and how they're responding. So a lot of great information coming your way from Paul Kurtman in just a few moments. Also today, have a really funny story about Zorhan Mondani. I don't know if you've seen this yet. A clip has resurfaced of Zorhan Mondani from, when was this? 2016, I think? Yeah. From 2016, where after his mom, Zorhan Mondani's mom, directed a Disney movie, he was one of the people because he played some role like in the production. He was, in the credits for some reason, and I think he had a little brief cameo in the movie as well. And so he was part of like the press junket. He was part of the group that was going out and doing various interviews. this is before anybody knows, this is before he's Zoran Mondani, the guy running for mayor of New York. He's nobody at this point. He's the son of a Disney
Was he
movie
rapping
director.
yet?
No, but he had an accent that he doesn't have anymore.
This is pre-rap Zoran Mondam.
Yeah, but apparently a totally different voice. Not only does he have an accent that was obviously fake because he doesn't have it anymore, he was also talking in kind of a little bit of a, kind of like a Muppet-like kind of sounding voice. So he was putting on this whole charade, and these clips have resurfaced today, and it's hilarious. So I'm going to play you some of that in a little bit, too. I think I'm going to wait till Paul's on the line because I want to get Paul's reaction to that when I play it. But, yeah, the Queen of Katwe, yeah, Katwe, that was the name of the Disney movie. I do not remember that movie. It came out in 2016.
Big Disney guy never heard of it, so that
yeah,
would
right.
rush.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
That says something.
Yeah. And, yeah, he's out here giving these interviews with his strong Ugandan accent that has somehow evaporated 10 years later. Not even 10 years later, because he was, when we became aware of Zoran Mondani on the national stage in, 2023. He won the election in 2024, so he's running before that and getting in, So this was 2016. So less than 10 years after these interviews, he's back in front of cameras and in front of microphones with a totally different voice. It's really funny. I'm going to play it for you here in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk about aliens. Yeah, didn't think I was going to start with that one, did you? But there's a new video out. Can't wait till Monday to talk to Gabe Pfeiffer. He's our space expert, literal rocket scientist, MIT grad, literal rocket scientist. Smartest person I know, Gabe Pfeiffer, who knows a lot about outer space. I think he drives satellites for a living. I'm not sure exactly what he does. I just know it's real secret and space related. My guess is in my mind he's up there driving the satellites, communicating with the aliens. He probably has friends, that are aliens. He's one of those guys that knows all the real things that are going on.
Fluently speaks their language.
Yeah. No, we make them speak our language. You know how we are. We don't learn anything.
That's true.
We make them,
yeah.
If they want to communicate, they got to learn how to talk
English,
to us. Yeah, exactly. A new video shows U.S. military tracking what appears to be a mysterious flying object over the Middle East in 2025. The latest group of materials on unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP, which is what we now call UFOs. We changed it from UFO to UAP. Don't ask me why. Released by the U.S. government includes video of what appears to be an object traversing the skies last year over the Middle East. Quote, the United States Central Command submitted a report of an unidentified anomalous phenomenon to the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. That's an office. All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. How do you get a job in that office? Consisting of 1 minute and 39 seconds of video footage from an electro-optical and infrared sensor aboard a U.S. military platform in 2025. Get all that? That is from a War Department memo. A description of the video says, quote, the sensor pans to track an area of contrast from left to right across the background, keeping it generally centered within the frame. The sensor adjusts collection mode and level of magnification several times, unquote. Assistant to the Secretary of War for Public Affairs and Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said in a statement today, quote, "Today, the Department of War is publishing the 5th release of declassified and historical, unidentified, anomalous phenomenon files as part of the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAE Encounters," which is the Pursue project. Get it? Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters. Pursue.
They always do that cute
I
stuff.
hate it. Johnny, it drives me crazy.
I bet you they made it up first. They said, let's do Pursue. And
I
then...
hate that we have to always call every program or bill, with some goofy name, and then either we have to come up with the goofy name and then make the words fit, or we know what the words want. We know what words we want to use, but then we got to find a goofy name that match the words. Just call. You don't have to name everything that way, but we do, and that's what we've done here. President Trump declared in a Truth Social post earlier this year that he would call for the release of all such materials, and I am here for it. But yeah, there's another UFO on video being tracked by the U.S. military. What does it mean? How much do we know? Who are we talking to? And, we talk about this with Gabe on, when we've talked in the past about this, because Gabe not only is a scientist who talks to aliens, you can quote me on that, he's also a leader at our church. And we've talked, he's also somebody who's very deeply rooted in his faith. And you keep hearing, every time we talk about these stories, and every time one of these stories hits the news cycle, you get all this response of, oh my God, if they tell us that there are aliens out there, then religions are going to crumble, and Christianity, will just, the belief in Jesus will just crumble. And I've never understood how those two things are connected. And again, I'm not the smartest person, but Gabe is. And as a church leader and as a rocket scientist, his answer has basically been like, why can't God have created other places? Like, why, and which is kind of the basics that I've always had on that. Like, I don't understand why this idea of, oh my God, stop talking about the aliens because it's going to make religion crumble and it's going to send the world into, a catastrophe and it's going to crumble society. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that not telling us what's going on up there is a much bigger problem.
I've always appreciated the argument that if you don't believe in aliens, that's pretty arrogant.
Yeah, right.
Of you to think that,
that
like,
this
really?
whole vast, endless universe, that there's not some other piece of life out there. Like, yeah. It makes sense to me that that's how it would be. And it doesn't, and having that belief also doesn't waver my faith one little bit. So, interesting stuff. Love it. There's so much of it. And as somebody who's been super into paranormal stuff, more ghosts and stuff like that.
Dude, aliens are real. That other stuff you're talking about, we're still out to lunch on.
Well, as somebody who's been into this kind of stuff for a long time, that loves to talk about paranormal issues, we're getting closer and closer to October, by the way. We're getting towards the end of summer, into fall. It's about to be that spooky season. We're going to start talking more about this stuff. But, I love it. I love paranormal conversations. I love going down that rabbit hole. And one thing that has really been satisfying about watching all this news come out is that all these years where we were told by the government and told by officials, you're crazy. We've never seen anything up there. We've never captured any video or had any weird, signals or anything like that. Nothing like that has ever happened. Anybody that says that stuff has happened is just a crazy whack job that needs to be institutionalized. And now we're finding out like millions and millions of pages of documents going back years and years and years of videos and various, things being picked up by sensors and radar and all these things that are not like the smoking gun of that's an alien, but like that can't be explained. So they were lying to us, obviously. And
That's the only time, right, Tony? That's the one. So we're gonna let them slide on that one. That's
the
one
only time they've ever lied to us about anything.
So we should trust them moving forward on anything else them or their space agencies say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's some fun stuff. That's some fun stuff there. All right, speaking of fun stuff, I want to play you this Zorhan Mondani stuff, and I want to talk to Paul Kurtman when we do that. So let's get Paul on the line now. Our financial expert from PR Kurtman Investments, Paul Kurtman, joins us next here on Colombo and Company.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
So don't forget about the Bluff City Outdoors Show every Saturday morning here on News Talk STL. Bluff City Outdoors Show with me, producer Johnny, who's in studio right now. Of course, Mark McMurray. Also, he's the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, and local professional fisherman Mike Marfell. Each and every week, we talk about fishing, hunting, trapping, the great outdoors in general. And, of course, every single day, 7 days a week, you can go to Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois to get all of those outdoor needs handled for you. Super knowledgeable staff of people that are out there doing these things. They have the best bow techs in the area. They have great fishermen and guides and things like that that they can hook you up with there at Bluff City Outdoors. That people that know what the conditions are out there, what's working, what's not working. Just a really knowledgeable staff when it comes to your next trip out on the water, your next trip out into the woods, whatever it may be. They have all your fishing needs covered. They have all your bow hunting needs covered. They have all your trapping needs covered, all your Garmin electronic needs covered. You can shoot every day in the archery range there at Bluff City Outdoors. We're getting closer and closer to, I was just saying how we're getting closer to the fall and, October and Halloween season. That also means we're getting closer and closer to hunting season. So if you are a bow hunter and you need new equipment or you need new strings or you need some repairs or whatever it may be, get up there to the shop and get it done now. Right now, the turnaround on something like that is probably less than a week. But as we get closer and closer to hunting season and more people are bringing in their stuff for those things to be restrung, repaired, whatever it may be, buying new equipment, that line starts to get longer and it can get, over 2 weeks when you get right up next to bow hunting season. So take advantage of the great bow techs out there at Bluff City Outdoors now and get that stuff done early. And of course, before your next trip out on the water, nobody's got you covered with more live bait, frozen bait, lures, fishing gear, whatever it may be, than Mark and his team at Bluff City Outdoors. So tune in every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Bluff City Outdoors show. And check out Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, open 7 days a week for all of your outdoor needs. Follow them on Facebook also and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
JC's Wayback Machine.
He's played the president's chief of staff, and a couple of his sons have been in lots of movies and TV shows. Martin Sheen is this week's A-list interview of the week. Plus, you'll hear Tom Petty's demo for Into the Great Wide Open and some acoustic stuff from Jeff Lynne. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL. Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Johnny, and joining us for a bonus time, a little bonus appearance this week from Paul Kurtman from PR Kurtman Investments. Paul always joins us on Mondays to kick off the week, to give us that start of the week check on the economy and the markets. And he is here at the end of the week this week to do the same thing and to catch us up on some of the things happening this week and get ready for the weekend. Paul, always appreciate your time, my friend. How are you? Uh-oh. Did we lose Paul? Paul Kurtman, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm here now.
Here he is. All right.
There's nothing worse than talking to a muted microphone.
No, you got to hit the, yeah, no, baby, you're good. You're good. Listen, it's Friday. It's completely unexpected. You're not ready for this. It's not your fault. But, yeah, thank you very much for joining us today, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And what I was saying to myself just moments ago was it is a good way to end the week. We had the market really shot up earlier this week, and we've had a couple down days, but it is still like just right up near our all-time highs once again. And so it was a good beginning of the week, and we're having a good close to the week.
And what is driving this?
I think a large part of it, we had some economic numbers come out this week. Unemployment fell a little bit, but so did some payroll also fell. So the jobs report, the economic numbers might not have as much to do with it as the fact that Wall Street had a really good earnings week last week and this week. So we talked once before about all these tech companies that were releasing their earnings reports, Microsoft, Meta, Google, all of these. And we had a really, really good, strong week of earnings. And I think the market's been waiting for that for a long time. We've seen companies take investments and innovate and develop and bring us new technology. But what investors want to see is they want to see a return on their investment. And so when a lot of these large tech companies can start showing that their investments are paying off for their shareholders, that excites the market. And we saw a little bit of that just last week and this week.
How much is the Iranian conflict playing into this right now? I feel like, in your description there, not really any talk about gas prices or what's going on in Iran. And I feel like because this thing has gone on for so long, and because it feels like we really haven't made any changes, I feel like you could go back and you could grab a clip of you and me talking about Iran from a month ago, from 2 months ago, from 3 months ago, from 4 months ago, and play it, and we could ask ourselves, when do you think that aired? And it could be any time. It could be today, or it could be 4 months ago, because it's always the same thing. It's always, there's some turmoil over there. There's some uncertainty. Iran is popping off. Trump is saying that, that they only have a few days left before an agreement has to be made, or he's going to bring the hammer. I mean, it's literally been that conversation for months. It's some version of that conversation for months. So with all that in mind, has it become a boy who cried wolf situation with the war in Iran, that the markets are like, you know what, when something actually is going to happen, let us know. Until then, we're just going to kind of do our own thing over here?
I think that there's probably a little bit of truth to that. If you remember at the very beginning of the war, which we all found out, after the missiles were already in the air or had already landed in Iran, we find out we're at war. We're expecting 5 weeks. The markets did respond to that. The markets were already under pressure since October, November of last year. The markets were under pressure. Just looking at the chart, it kind of looked like a tree branch that was just bowing over, hadn't snapped and fallen down, wasn't growing up real fast, just kind of bowing over a little bit. And then when the war kicked off, that was kind of the pressure that made the S&P just drop a little bit quicker. And for just briefly, the S&P 500 was down about 12% from its all-time highs, from that pressure and then from the war. But then since then, we've come back, we've hit all-time highs nothing has changed. The only thing that's really changed, Tony, is we were told what to expect in terms of the war being over in 5 weeks. Well, this is what's changed. We're heading into a multi-month long operation here with no end in sight. Like if you had to point to a finish line somewhere out ahead of us, nobody knows where it is because it keeps getting moved every time we want to have a new peace talk. So man, great observation, because if you could take a clip, you're right. If you took a clip of any one of our talks over the last several months, you could replay that today. Like, keep that in mind. If you have to like take 15 minutes out of the studio,
Yeah.
you could just play that clip, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's what's going on these days." But that's what the markets are getting used to now. And I do think, though, I do believe if there is any other type of major development, boots on the ground, if suddenly a major bomb goes off in one of the major cities in the Middle East, whether it's Tehran or one of the other capitals of any of the other Middle Eastern countries, or Israel or the U.S., if we see something like that happen, I think the markets are going to respond to that, because that would mean that the situation is about ready to level up and it's about ready to get a little bit more heated, maybe a little bit more complex. And so I think the markets would respond to that. But right now, I feel like the markets might just be thinking, this is the world we live in now. It's one major conflict after another. And we just came off a 20 years worth of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's not quite as much pressure right now, maybe, as it would be had we had been doing this on the back of a long era of, world peace.
Yeah. So with that in mind, with this constant, repetitive message that always sounds like it has a timeline on it, but never really does. We're always just days away. This week, I think it was on Monday. It was definitely early in the week. So by Tuesday at the latest, they were already reports of, we are 24 hours away. We should have a deal on the Strait of Hormuz in the next 24 hours. And I mean, that was Tuesday, and then the same report on Wednesday, and now on Thursday, and then on Thursday, it's more just like we're getting close. And now Friday, we're just days away. Well, wait a minute. We keep hearing that this is going to happen by the end of the week or in the next 24 hours. And then that just kind of keeps getting played on a loop. Today, the president said that Trump is personally involved in the talks with Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And I think it was yesterday, it was either yesterday or the day before, he made the prediction that as soon as the strait is reopened, that gas prices will drop to $2.50 a gallon pretty much immediately, or in a very short period of time when the strait is reopened. Do you have any faith that we are on a different path now, with the president more personally involved, with him saying that gas prices are about to drop? Does that make you feel any better or make you feel any different about where we're at? Or do you just feel like, I'll believe it when I see something, when I see something actually happen, because until then we're just spinning our wheels?
Yeah, I'm just going to shoot really straight here. The president has been as involved as he possibly could be since that first missile went into the sky. So he's the commander in chief of the military. This is his operation as the commander in chief, as the president of the country. So I believe he's always been involved at the highest possible echelons. I know he's delegated some things out to Marco Rubio or to Pete Hegseth, but he's the commander in chief. So he's the one that's been involved. The second thing is this: they have already released some strategic oil reserves here and there. This has been part of President Trump's strategy to make sure gas did stay a little bit lower for Americans. So if that all stops, and then if the war stops and then that stops, I think gas will come down a little bit. But if we keep any kind of strategy going that we have right now to help keep gases low, and then the Straits of Hormuz open, then yeah, maybe it goes down even further. But I just don't think that we're gonna see gas fall that dramatically. I hope that it does. I'm just not so sure that it's going to happen just like that. I think it'd be good for the president and for the Republicans if that happened before November, because people are going to be paying attention to these signs at gas stations on their way to the ballot box. So I know that they want to see a resolution to this before November. The closer they push this to November, though, the worse it's going to be politically for the president's party.
Do gas prices have a bigger impact? Your opinion here, obviously, the bigger impact on the country at large when it comes to elections, like you just pointed out. Like, it's something that could play a big role in people's votes if they don't feel they're confident with the president in delivering, some conclusion, some closure to what's happening in Iran, and along with that, the gas prices coming back down. Or does it have more of an impact on the economy? Or is this one of those situations we were talking about a minute ago, that the kind of ship has sailed when it comes to the markets worrying too much about what's happening in Iran? Where's the bigger impact when we talk about gas prices coming down? Does it have could that have a major impact on the markets, or is the impact more felt at the ballot box?
I think that the impact after gasoline prices come down is an impact that's felt at the ballot box more. So when gasoline prices come down, they're coming down for a reason. That reason has already happened. So gas prices coming down is what you would call a lagging economic indicator. It's something that lags behind the actual change that's already happened in the economy. So it's a lagging indicator. But from 5 campaigns of my own, running campaigns, I can tell you this much just from my observation. I've never read like a peer-reviewed study on this. I'm just saying from my observation, boots on the ground, campaigning for myself from one election cycle to the next. Most people just pay whatever they need to pay for gas because they have to have it. And so they find a way to do it. A lot of people are comfortable enough that they don't like paying higher gas prices, but they'll do it. But it really becomes a much bigger issue as we get into election season, because one of the parties, usually the minority party, is going to try to weaponize that against the party that's currently in control, because they want to remind the American people, they want to remind the people here in town or wherever, hey, just remember how high your gas prices are as we go into election. And people just have a kind of a way of immediately associating those higher gas prices with whoever is in office right now, whether it's true or not. So it has more of an impact, in my opinion, as we go into an election cycle.
Talking to Paul Kurtman from PR Kurtman Investments. And Paul, I wanted to play you this Zorhan Mondani thing. Did you hear me talking about this a moment ago? Do you know? Have you seen any of this? That why Zorhan Mondani is back in the news today? Do you know? Have you seen any headlines about him?
I did not hear this
okay,
yet, so
good,
I'm ready
good.
for it.
I'm good.
This will be great.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I love a pure, genuine reaction. So this is I didn't even realize this about Zorhan Mondani's history. A resurfaced clip from 2016, a resurfaced interview with the New York City mayor, sparked backlash this week after critics accused him of using a fake Ugandan accent while promoting his mother's Disney film. So his mom, Zorhan Mondani's mom, directed a Disney film, The Queen of Katwe, Katwe. I couldn't even be bothered to look it up because I don't care. I only care about this about catching this clown faking an accent. So while doing interviews for this, because let's see, what did he do? The film is directed by his mom, based on a true story of Ugandan chess prodigy. Mondani is credited as the music supervisor and third assistant director in the movie, and appears in a brief on-screen cameo. So he was attached to the movie more than it just my mom made a movie. He was, apparently working on the movie behind the scenes. But this is before anybody knew, this is before Zorhan Mondani was anybody. And, he didn't have any political sway. He wasn't known in New York. So it's not like, oh, we're putting him on because we know who Zorhan Mondani is. He was just doing a couple of these smaller, like, local radio, not to take a shot at myself, but you know what I mean? Like, he was just doing like these local radio hits around the country, promoting this movie as part of like the press junket for Disney. And, he is Ugandan. He has Ugandan citizenship and was born in Uganda, but he was raised in South Africa in his early years, but moved to New York City when he was 7. So he's been in, and we've heard him speak many, many times. He does not have any type of accent whatsoever. But
right.
But this is what he sounded like in 2016 while doing interviews promoting his mom's movie. And then I'm going to play, after this, I'll play you a little clip of his recent speeches, and you tell me if he was faking something at this point. This is 2016 Zoran Mondani talking about his mom's Disney movie.
I mean, we also do, our showcase. We do our showcase in Kampala. But I mean, having a dance move to a song is a big thing, right? But I would say the Nigerians have really patented that. The Nigerians come out with a song, like Yemi Alade has a song called, what's the name? Kofi Annan. She has a song called...
Okay. That's Zoran Mondani in 2016. Here's Zoran Mondani a month ago.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people.
Wow.
I mean, we also do, our showcase. We do our showcase in Kampala.
That does not... Not only does he have a fake accent, he's also doing like kind of a Muppet thing with his voice, isn't he? Like he's also like changing the tone of his voice. He's just, what a fake piece of crap this man has always been. Go ahead.
Well, he's going on and on, like, but the Nigerians, like he's living next door to Nigeria or something.
Yeah, I could give you the whole African, history and tell you about all the different cultures and everything around the world because I'm so, because I'm so authentic.
Like he's just like he is like I'm gonna fill you. I'm gonna lift the veil on our local politics and culture here in Uganda. Listen to let me tell you what these Nigerians. Good grief, that's probably one of the worst. Not just because he took the accent, and we've seen politicians do a lot of that when they're out campaigning.
Oh,
but then
Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, yes, Kamala Harris,
Hillary's done it.
Yes.
Yep. But then to try to like pull yourself like back into the region like you just got here, like you literally just landed off the plane, because let me tell you about this. Let me tell you how it really is. This is the movie, but this is how it really is.
Yeah,
these Nigerians.
That's the
big one. Like the fact that he's trying to pull himself.
Yeah, he became like well known on the national stage in 2023 because in 2024 he won that election. So in 2020, this was in 2016. So less than 10 years. In less than 10 years, he went from to I'm here to fight for the people of New York. Like with a different
like he's a
tone.
Harvard graduate.
Yeah, with a different tone and no accent whatsoever. What an inauthentic POS that, I mean, we know that. I mean, it's nothing new that Zoran Mondani's a liar, but and not authentic, but just to be caught so blatantly. And where's all the people that are going to cry cultural appropriation and talk about how this is completely, not
trying
okay.
to capitalize. I mean, for a socialist, trying to capitalize off the backs of the Ugandans by co-opting an accent and talking as if you just arrived here at the airport.
That you actually lived that culture when you didn't. You were born there, but you didn't live there long. You moved, and then you were here in the United States by the time you were 7 years old. You did not grow up, in that environment, in that culture, in that part of the world, and certainly don't have that accent. And I'd like to see if he gets called out. He's getting called out by, people like us today, Paul, but will he get called out by the people on his own side that would certainly call out somebody else?
They ought to start a theater troupe, Tony.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that. Because in a lot of these stories that I was reading today, they were like calling him a theater kid. They were like, theater kid Zoran Mondani, putting on his fake accent for these interviews.
Him, Hillary, Kamala, Bill Clinton. I mean, they've got the accents down. They could start a business and like coach Hollywood actors like on how to.
Hillary Clinton.
how you get
remember
the right
when
accent for the
she
part
said
you're
that
playing.
She was talking to like a black audience and said that she never leaves without having hot sauce in her purse or something. I mean, just the
I
most
keep a
gross,
bottle of hot sauce in my purse.
Yeah, just the grossest, most racist like stuff. And I ain't in no
Or the
way
talking.
harm. Yeah, remember that one? That clip? Yeah.
I ain't in no way. It's like somebody needs to tell her, like, Hillary, listen, the point of acting is to act like you're not acting.
Yeah.
Like that was the absolute worst attempt
And it's
at any
racist.
accent I've ever heard.
And it's racist. It's racist and gross to do that. And remember, Joe Biden was like, I'm going to put you all back in chains. Like, oh, my God, what are we doing here? But they don't get, but they, you know, and Zoe Mondani gets to fake an accent, but they all get away with it.
It's only wrong. It's only wrong if you're a conservative.
Yeah, you got that right.
If you're anybody else, if you're a Democrat or a progressive,
racism only
then,
is racism is only racist when it's done by a Christian or a conservative or a white guy or or a black guy that votes for a Republican. You know, they don't count either. So, but yeah, what a joke! What a joke! He's a joke. That is hilarious. Here, one more time.
But I mean, we also do, our showkeys. We do our showkeys in
Dude, you're making me racist by association to this. Like just hearing this is I'm like, I'm being hate crime.
Yeah. What is that voice? Paul Kurtman, really appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks for a little overtime on a Friday afternoon. Thanks for checking in with us, and we look forward to talking to you again on Monday as we kick off another busy week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. That's Paul Kurtman from P.R. Kurtman Investments. All right. In the 3 o'clock hour today, so in just about 12 minutes from now, we're going to talk to the former mayor of Ferguson, James Knowles. Before we get there, that's my fault. That's my fault. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Little ads just popping up, Before that, I want to talk a little bit about Donald Trump's new executive orders. There's 2 targeting birthright citizenship. So I want to fill you in on those and more as we continue on a busy Friday afternoon here on Colombo Company.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. An American girl wins Olympic gold, but later is told she might never walk again.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Intervine and Intervine.com, the local family-owned business that makes the best flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps. They also make batteries in all different sizes. And you know the team behind Intervine, Mike McClary, who is with us on every Tuesday. He's our big tech AI expert here on the show. This is his family business. And, Mike is the best and somebody that we know and trust and keeping, that supporting that local business while also just having the best products is fantastic. And on top of all that, you can get everything at Intervine.com for 25% off just by using my name, Tony, at checkout, Tony, as your promo code at checkout. Gets you 25% off everything at Intervine. If you want, the heavy-duty tech flashlight or lantern for the outdoorsman in your life, or you just want a small, reliable, super bright flashlight or headlamp or lantern, in your garage, in your laundry room, in your kitchen, in the glove box of your vehicle, they've got all these great products. Also, you can stock up on batteries. We can never have enough batteries in our house. There's so many wireless video game controllers, remote controls, other electronics, AA, AAA batteries, whatever it is, we can just never have enough. And you can even stock up on batteries for 25% off. You cannot beat that deal when it comes to batteries. All of it, 25% off at Intervine.com. Again, just use my name, Tony, at checkout. Intervine is INTERVINE. Use Tony at checkout for 25% off everything at Intervine.com.
In Missouri, your home works hard to keep up with the weather. Johnson Heating and Cooling works harder. We're a local family-owned company specializing in residential heating and cooling, service, repair, replacement, maintenance, even new construction. Our NATE certified technicians and trained comfort specialists keep families comfortable across Wentzville, O'Fallon, St. Charles, and beyond. Call 636-332-4141 or johnson-heatingandcooling.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. I love Capriotti's, and you will too. Visit Capriotti's now at 2 locations on Manchester, McKnight, and Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Big thanks again to Paul Kurtman for checking in with us on this Friday afternoon. If you missed any of that conversation, go back and check it out on our podcast. Best way to make sure you never miss anything on the show is by subscribing to our podcast. Donald Trump signing 2 executive orders targeting birthright citizenship and birth tourism after a Supreme Court setback earlier this year. The president yesterday signed 2 executive orders targeting birthright citizenship and birth tourism, saying his administration is taking a new approach after what he called a very unfortunate Supreme Court ruling. Quote, "We're making adjustments because it's very unfair. They're building businesses around birthright citizenship. That's not the way it was supposed to work. It's a disgrace. They're buying their way in, and we're not going to let it happen." The move comes after the Supreme Court blocked Trump's earlier executive order seeking to limit automatic birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment. White House officials said that the new directives rely on existing executive and immigration authorities and are intended to narrow eligibility for automatic citizenship in certain cases while cracking down on foreigners who travel to the United States to give birth. This is going to be really interesting to see the difference between the last time he tried to do this with executive order and this time, because did he, is he going to get shot back down? Is this going to not hold? Or are there certain rules in place and guidelines and limitations and specific instances that are that these apply to that aren't maybe as broad as the last one? It's going to be really interesting as we learn more about this to unpack it and get those details and see what is the difference, if any, between this and the last one, and why we would think that there will be a different outcome this time as opposed to the last time. White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller, said the first order expands the categories of people the administration considers ineligible for birthright citizenship, including, quote, alien enemies of the United States, members of foreign terrorist organizations, and large categories of people who lobby and act on behalf of foreign governments. Miller said the second order was issued, quote, for the first time ever in American history to ban birth tourism, unquote. He said the administration will deny visas to people who seek to enter the United States, quote, to have a child, to make that child an automatic citizen, as well as those who organize such trips. So, which kind of gives you a disturbing look into what really is an industry right now, the industry of birthright citizenship and birth tourism, where foreigners, families, women, plan on being in the United States just right at the time that they're going to be having a baby, to make sure that that baby has United States citizenship, and therefore, they giving them more of a right, with their child being a citizen, more of a right to try to be here and to bring their family here. And not only like that, how pre-planned that stuff is, but how there's an industry built around others helping to coordinate that with these women and these families. It's absolutely amazing. We'll dig deeper into this as we continue the conversation. You're listening to Colombo and Company.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school, and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Calling all patriots. Join the St. Louis County Republicans for the annual Lincoln Reagan Day dinner, Saturday, September 19th at River City Casino. Our keynote speaker, Newsmax personality Rob Carson. Enjoy a full night of fun and information alongside state and local officials and candidates. It's an evening you won't want to miss. Dinner and program, just $75. For tickets, email Renee Artman at hotmail.com or call 314-398-6667.
Hey, it's Vic. If you have a tree that you think is dead, you can get Roots Plus to remove it for you. Or if you think the tree is savable, or if Roots Plus thinks it's savable, they can save your tree and you keep your cash. Call them and find out what that's all about at 314-440-3662. The crews are great. They get things done. They removed the tree for me, and they did expert work, and I definitely will put my name on their company. So save the tree with Roots Plus, LLC. RootsPlusLLC.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. As Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's confirmation appeared headed for sure defeat, one on-the-fence Senate Republican gave him and President Trump a vital lifeline.
Bill Cassidy has remained quiet on how he would vote on Blanche, who barely survived his confirmation vote from the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now, speaking with President Trump's pick to lead the Department of Justice, Cassidy has made his decision.
All considered, I will vote for Mr. Blanche. I'll be criticized for this vote. What's new? But people of Louisiana can be assured that I worked hard to understand the issue and to make the right decision.
With Cassidy's green light, Blanche has a chance, but to be confirmed, Senate Republicans will need an assist from Vice President J.D. Vance. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
It's unclear whether the Senate will actually vote on Blanche on Friday. The Senate confirming Cameron Hilton as head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Hamilton was among 74 nominations approved by the Senate. The Senate also approving David Cummins to lead the Transportation Security Administration and Daniel Perez for ambassador to Brazil. The key voting bloc in Michigan signaling resistance to the Democratic Senate candidate.
Progressive Abdul El-Sayed, the Democrat nominee for Senate in Michigan, is drawing strong pushback from Jewish Democrats, with some community leaders saying they cannot support him. One Democrat businessman called El-Sayed's close association with anti-Semitic streamer Hassan Piker despicable and said he is now leaning toward Republican Mike Rogers. High-profile Jewish Democratic donors are also considering fundraising for Rogers. Willie Nelson, the White House.
President Trump says the federal appeal court's decision that he cannot build a $400 million ballroom at the White House without congressional approval is unjust. The president says on social media he'll be appealing that decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. More on these stories from townhall.com.
Progressive presents perfectly bad excuses for missing stuff to spend more time on your ATV.
Hey, Wallace, not going to the reunion after all. Think I got cursed. Keep, stubbing my toe.
Now that was a bad excuse. If you love your vehicle this much, get customized coverage from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
Half a century later, Watergate still shapes how Americans view power, scandal, and trust. This weekend, the America 250 film series presents Watergate Secrets and Betrayals. Revisit the investigation through archival footage, interviews, and new arguments about what happened. Watch Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Salem News Channel.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scott.
#1 for live and local
conservative talk. I'm very angry.
I've heard a lot of people talking about gun control. You have to wave a magic wand and get rid of the establishment. This maniac is going to inspire the next maniac.
News, analysis, opinion.
But my focus is kind of the mental health crisis. Swamp's not going to drain itself. I'm just sick of the protesting in general, and that's why it's so very important to be prepared.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
There is no room in America for this kind of conduct.
All of a sudden, they care about free speech? No. They care about dependency and control.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
She will devour the real truth like it was a light snack.
The agenda that the far left is pushing is not working for us. And I'm talking about everybody who look like me.
101.9 and 94.1.
Fight for our freedom.
This is News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Heading into the 3 o'clock hour here. One more hour before we hand you off to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show. Getting you ready for your weekend, recapping what has been a very busy week, and getting you up to speed on everything happening heading into this weekend. I mentioned just a moment ago that we were going to be joined by the former mayor of Ferguson, Missouri, Mayor James Knowles. But
that's a lie.
James, yeah, I'm a liar. James is the city manager of Troy, Missouri, as well as the former mayor of Ferguson, and a very busy, extremely busy human being, and not able to join us right now. However, you know, when you work somewhere like News Talk STL, it's pretty amazing what you just can find out in the hallway. And thank goodness that Larry Connors from Larry Connors USA is in the building and gracious enough to step into the studio and join the conversation. Larry, thank you so much. Great
I'm glad even though I was at the bottom of the barrel, I'm glad I was still here.
No way, baby. It's great to
Number
see
one
you.
in my heart, Larry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate it, as always. Of course, Larry Connors, USA, every weekday afternoon, 6 p.m. here on News Talk STL. And a lot, no shortage of things to talk about, Larry, with everything that's happened this week. We've got, I want to say we've got updates and new information coming out of the conflict with Iran.
And it's already old.
But we don't, and it's already old. But also, do we even really have any new information? I know it's a new month. I know I know that the president is saying that we're, just 24 to 48 hours away from another agreement. But I feel like we've heard that. I feel like we've been 24 to 48 hours away from another agreement.
The only new thing that
months.
I saw today was he says he's going to be involved. And I assume if he's talking personally, I don't know via video or what, but he's going to take a more direct action. Now, and I pointed this out the other day, that you have heard this repeatedly, and then we stall off the attack. Now, I raised the question, we know we're short on munitions, and I don't know if maybe we're just trying to get more prepared, make sure we have more ready, but also taking advantage of it. And I do believe that Trump does not want to annihilate the Iranian people. He's just trying to get, control of it. General Jack King has been stating today that right now, the Iranians are more concerned about the Strait of Hormuz rather than nuclear power. Getting their nuclear weapon is a long ways off from what we've already done damage to in Israel. But they realize the Strait of Hormuz is a pressure point for our nation, and we've got Americans in this nation that are going along with that, mainly because when they go to fill up their gas tank, they look at those prices. And going to the midterm election, Keen's pointing out, the Iranians know our elections very well. They know the pressure it puts on the president, midterm, and then again in November things continue, or they renew it. But the gas price, according to AAA, is from average about $4.04 now a gallon, and it was $4.11 a gallon a week ago. That's not a lot of difference, but every penny for a lot of people means something. And I never want to dismiss that, but if you have a son or daughter in the theater, I guarantee you're not thinking about the gas prices. You're worried about your children and their grandchildren or whatever you have over there. Mm-hmm. And the Iranians are pushing those buttons, and I get upset when Americans start falling all over. Oh, yeah, and not paying attention to what's really at stake here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that is also why I worry about the future, because, in Missouri especially, with this primary election that we just had on Tuesday, we were, I don't want to say distracted, because it wasn't a distraction. It was an important focus to talk about those elections and be prepared for those elections and, make decisions on state reps and congressmen and senators and all of these sort of things. But now that that's past us in Missouri, and for the rest of the country, the focus now becomes the midterms in November.
Yep.
And here comes another massively important set of decisions that American voters and Missouri voters and Illinois voters are going to be making. And it is vital to this president, if he wants to execute his agenda, if he wants to continue to be able to, advance policy, he needs to hold on. The Republicans need to hold on to the Senate and to the House.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that they're on the right path to do so or have the momentum to do so. If we just, for right now, stick with Iran, if we keep spinning our wheels the way we have been. I feel like I'm not even necessarily criticizing the actions as much as I am the communication. Because if it's going to take a while, then just tell us it's going to take a while. If we are doing this one step at a time, and look, we can't rush these things and we're working on it, then say that. Don't keep saying that we are 48 hours away from another agreement, and then every 48 hours passes and we don't have anything done.
I do agree with that. But I think he's trying to calm the public into that extent. And yes, you got to look at the political angle. You cannot deny that. But we have to have the strait open. That's a critical thing, not only for and quite honestly, many of the Arab nations, in that area, they're now looking at building a pipeline and just to hell with the strait, and go in a different direction entirely.
Yeah.
And they might well end up doing that. It will take some time, but if we wanted to wipe Iran out, we could tonight. Be done.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep the nation intact, the infrastructure for the people in particular. We don't like taking innocent lives, but that's where I have a hard time with folks. And again, I'm not dismissing anyone struggling out there with the economy and cost of some groceries and fuel. I certainly understand that. I truly sympathize with you. I empathize with you. But the point is, if you go back what we went through in World War II, rationing when we really got down there, and some of you might remember back in the 1980s when you had gas rationing, where you could only buy gas on a Tuesday or Thursday, or even then, the station, long lines of cars at a service station until they were out, and they might offer a certain price for a gallon, but only so many cars would get it, and people were lining up in their cars. They were driving sometimes 15 miles out of their way to go get gas a little cheaper. Did they save anything? I don't know.
Right? No, you're exactly right, and I agree with you on all those things. I just feel like we, especially now, if the Republicans want to hold on to power in the midterm elections, being completely transparent and communicating to the American people is the most important thing to do right now.
Well, Trump has even stated, and this is a bold statement, reference the Michigan Senator-elect Abu al-Sayed.
Yeah.
He said if the Democrats get back in control, they will have the Supreme Court packed with 23 of their justices. They'll have 4 more senators, a dozen more Congress members.
D.C.
They'll
will be
have
a
control of everything. D.C. and Puerto Rico become a state, and I will be, unfortunately, the last Republican president. And Abdul Assad signed off on his tweet account, quoting Trump, and said, "I agree with him." Yeah. They're making their plans known. The DSA has made it clear what they want to do. I've got a story tonight dealing with Senator Ted Cruz, really drilling down on the Muslim Brotherhood, who they are, what they've been involved in behind the scenes, and also out in the open, and the money that's coming in. Where's the money? He's suggesting we need a RICO Act used against the Muslim Brotherhood. We do not classify them on a nation basis as a terrorist organization. We do not. Now, we have, in certain cases, some of their actions, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and I'm drawing a blank on a couple of other Mideast countries, do declare, and they outlaw them. They will not allow them to be in their country. But, of course, they are Sunni, and Shia run Iran. And so there's a difference there already.
Yeah. Talking to Larry Connors.
I correct that. The Sunni run Iran. I had that backwards. Sorry about that.
Talking to Larry Connors from Larry Connors USA. Got a couple minutes left here with Larry before we check in with Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. She's going to bring us the weekend forecast here in just a few moments. Larry, haven't had a chance to talk to you about Anthony Fauci and the spectacle last week in front of the Senate with 111 times where he pleads the fifth. Yesterday, the United States Senate committee led by Rand Paul advanced a contempt of Congress plan against Anthony Fauci. Great, but
what's it accomplish?
What does it accomplish? And I'm not going to get my hopes up about
well, he said
somebody
they're
being held to account.
He said they're going to hand deliver that direct to the Attorney General, which I assume they have by now.
Yeah.
But then you've got, it's a partisan divide, but there are political experts on both sides that say, yeah, there are some variances here where he could have spoken to some things and still, as has been pointed out, he's always faced perjury, even as beginning testimony, every step of the way. The point now being that even if he answers questions now and then he missteps and commits perjury again, the pardon only lasted from 2016 to Biden's last day in office. Everything he did in that time frame.
Yeah.
So if he does anything past that date, he will be held liable for it.
Do you have any confidence? What's your gut feeling about will Anthony Fauci ultimately be held to any type of account for misleading the American people?
Well, there you have it right there. Not so much contempt of Congress, but contempt of the American people.
Yeah.
That he's guilty of.
Oh.
And all of these people that flocked around him and praised him and so forth, they have to be questioning themselves, even if they actually believed everything. And then all the scientists that signed off on this stuff, now they're coming out saying, yeah, it never really looked like that. And they admit that he basically, and remember getting his nomination for the David Prize out of Israel, a $1 million prize, 10% up to go to a certain foundation. So he only got $900,000, but he was sending out letters to all these fellow scientists and everything. Will you nominate me for this? And basically giving them a template. Here's what all I've done. Just put it in your words or just sign it and send it back in as nomination. So, this guy is a scam artist in so many ways.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about, I just touched on this in the last segment. The president yesterday put out 2 new executive orders targeting birthright citizenship, but more importantly and more specifically, birth tourism.
Yep.
We know what happened with the Supreme Court. Things didn't go the president's way the last time he tried this with an executive order and tried to, get the Constitution more well-defined.
I don't even know how, even if that passes muster, and I'm not sure, I don't know how you're going to define birth tourism. A woman's pregnant, she comes to visit the U.S., and voila, she happened to have the baby.
Right.
Now, if she comes 3 months before the baby is due, was she planning it on that sense? Or
apparently there are organizations.
Oh, there are. There are. China is full of them.
Like travel agencies.
Yeah, travel agencies in Russia, China, and elsewhere as a birth tourism.
So maybe if you can prove a connection to a agency that's literally scheduling your trip to the United States to make sure that you have your baby over here, maybe that can be considered some kind of
I can also fear, though, Tony, that if even if they're not using that, there are, maybe 6 weeks plus from the pregnancy, and they come over and they induce just to have the baby.
For sure.
And
because it's not
regardless of why they come, I pray for the health of the baby.
Yeah, and amen to that. And it's because it's not just organizations in China and Russia and Mexico and other places out. There's plenty of people, doctors,
individuals,
and people here that will assist with that sort of thing and induce maybe when it's not really ready, just to make sure that baby's born while that mother is here. Yeah, there's a lot, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this latest executive order, this latest attempt by the president to get some of this birth tourism under control will be played out. There's going to be legislation in the very near future. Before we let you go, Larry, one of the best things every night on Larry Connors USA, not only getting up to speed on all the news and big information of the day, but the story behind the story is always just massively entertaining.
I appreciate that. I started that, I want to say last October, November, I decided, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different as opposed to just normal coverage. And it has been a highlight. The story I'm running tonight actually came from an idea of Vic Perselli. He said, do you know about this 16-year-old that was the youngest girl from the U.S., actually, to win an Olympic medal? And I said, no, I started researching it. It's an amazing story. She wins the Olympic medal in 1928, and she's planning on going to the next games, but then a tragedy befalls her, which is part of the story, and she's told, you will never even walk again.
Wow.
Well, she proved that wrong. And she ends up at the Munich
games
when they were held in Germany.
Yeah.
And again, there's more to the story behind the story.
Man, I love it. It's so interesting. Sometimes it's stories that I am, that you remember from history or even lived in history, but you haven't dug back into these topics in so long, and then sometimes there's stories like this where you just get to learn a new piece of history, but the story behind the story is always...
I've tried to plot them quite a ways out. Sometimes they're tied to the date.
Yeah.
I know right now that some dates coming up that I'll be focusing on story behind the story, the death of Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, that's cool.
The demise of Enron. I mean, those are just some. Now, these are not
Yeah.
stories that I necessarily always had a connection in.
Sure.
But they're just fascinating stories, I hope.
Yeah. And as a person who is, obviously a news nerd like me, but also a history nerd, because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And to know these stories and understand them and revisit them every night as part of Larry Connor's
Thank
USA,
you.
I think
Thank
it's just
you,
such
sir.
a cool thing. Larry, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for the invite. I
You
appreciate
bet.
it.
No, I really appreciate
My
your
check
time.
is, where do I find my check?
You can go talk to Jeff Allen.
Oh,
He's out there
okay.
somewhere.
Who's
yeah.
Jeff?
Tall guy.
Larry,
corner
you'll
office.
never learn.
Yeah.
Take
One of
cash.
the owner? Does Joe know that Jeff is the owner?
Yeah, well, let them hash that
Thanks,
out.
guys.
Demand cash, Larry.
Thanks,
Demand
Larry.
cash.
Great stuff there. Larry Connor's USA every afternoon, 6 p.m. here on News Talk STL. And before we take our next break, it is time to get the weekend forecast. Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett is on the line with us. Kristen, thanks as always for your time. I said earlier, I think it's going to get hot again, but don't take my word for it. Let's get the facts from Kristen. So thanks as always for
you
your
just
time.
feel it in your bones.
Yeah. I mean, it's August in St. Louis.
It's August.
You can't get away with 75-degree
Exactly.
days very often, so I'm sure it's going to get hot again.
Yeah, yesterday our high was only 79. Incredible.
crazy,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
done.
Goodbye.
So obviously it's already way hotter today, and it's going to get pretty rough again as we head through the next few days. So let me take you through it.
Yep.
For tonight, just partly cloudy, warm, muggy. There is an off chance for some showers and thunderstorms, but I do think they're going to stay south of St. Louis. Southeastern Missouri, mainly. That's where there's about a 40% chance of rain and storms. In St. Louis, the chance of rain less than 10%. I'm not really too concerned about it. We're going to drop to 72 overnight. And then tomorrow is mostly sunny. It's hot. It's humid, 90 degrees, but more humid than today. So the heat index is going to get up to about 99. Partly cloudy and dry Saturday night. We drop to 73. Sunday, now we're mostly sunny and 93, even more humid. Now the heat index is up to 106. And while I'm at it, let me just keep going. Monday, sunny and 95 with a peak heat index of 107. And then Tuesday's heat index is 106. So long story short, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are going to be pretty brutal. We've issued some first alert weather days for the heat, not for any storms, but for the heat. So we're back in it. But like you said, it's August in St. Louis.
And, when it's that humid, when it's that muggy outside, you get wet. You're just like sweating the second you walk outside. But other than the moisture coming out of your body from the sweat, do we have any real big chance of rain over these next few days, or is the heat and the humidity
Not
the story?
really.
Yeah.
The next decent chances of rain don't really roll in. Of course, it's weather; things can change. But
Sure,
as of right now, it looks like Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday could be a little unsettled, maybe even into Friday. So we get into a bit more of a wet period toward the latter part of the week. But through Tuesday, not a whole lot.
Yeah. So at least for the next several days, the heat and humidity is the main story out there. And, of course, be aware of that and be safe. Keep yourself cool. And as I always say, the best way to keep up with everything happening out there, if you have a question with the weather or something, you need to check the temperature, or if there is, a storm rolling through or something like that, the Channel 4 weather app is the best place to go to keep up to speed. You guys just do a great job with keeping people informed on the Channel 4 weather app. I love it, and I recommend it to everybody. Is the best way to keep up with what's happening with the weather.
Appreciate
outside.
it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate your time as always. Kristen Cornett, Channel 4 meteorologist. Really appreciate your time. Have a great weekend yourself, and we'll talk to you again
Have
soon.
a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Great stuff there. That is Kristen Cornett, Channel 4 meteorologist, and always great stuff to hear from them. And I was right. It's about to get hot.
I didn't like that at all. Can we respin?
Yeah.
Can I call her back and get another go at that?
Yeah, can you push a different button? Can you pull a
That
different
was,
lever
that was
there?
terrible.
On the
Yeah, I
weather
want
side?
another shot at that.
I like that it's not raining. I do appreciate the no rain. But man, that humidity just crazy.
I was doing something else, and then I heard her numbers, and I said, what did she just say?
Yeah, heat index tomorrow. Okay, so quick recap there. Tomorrow, sunny and humid, high of 90, heat index 99. Sunday, basically the same, except it's even hotter. 93 is a high, 106 as the heat index. And then Monday and Tuesday, more of the same. Heat indexes.
No, shut up. I wanted you to re-rack that again, too. You try again. That was awful.
Baby. I can't.
That was terrible.
I can only repeat the facts from the professionals. All right, we are rolling through a Friday afternoon here on Colombo and Company. I mentioned that the president back in the news today with those executive orders regarding birthright citizenship and birth tourism. Also, today, back in the news is the president responding to a panel of federal judges who ordered the construction on the White House ballroom to stop. The president said that he will immediately appeal this decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. I want to get you updated on what's happening with that, and we're also going to bring you a little Friday fun time before we wrap things up this afternoon on Colombo and Company here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary with Kellyanne Conway. Next.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Here's Kellyanne Conway.
The Democratic Socialists of America are screaming DSA over USA. And if people actually listen to what they're promising and who they are, their own survey says 85% white, 80% with a college degree. This is not the old Democratic Party. These are folks who were told by the institution, the academic institutions, fork over 6 figures, get a degree with us. You can support yourself, have home ownership, maybe own a small business, be able to live the American dream, however you define that. And they're disappointed. Their grievances are weird, though, because if you actually listen to what they're promising, I don't think Republicans right now should just say, oh, socialism, socialism. They should explain to people what that means. That means no private ownership. That means health care for all, which sounds great but costs too much. And I actually think letting them talk and explaining who they are and showing who they are is a great benefit to the Republican Party.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Are you struggling with life's pressures? The Flot Line has answers. Join host Rick Hughes for biblical principles and learn how to build a spiritual flot line in your soul. Discover God's plan for your life. Sunday mornings at 9:30 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
There's always something to celebrate in Augusta, Missouri, just 1 hour from St. Louis. Every season brings festivals and special events you won't want to miss. Hop the free trolley to 10 wineries in America's first wine district. Bike the Katy Trail and explore historic small-town charm. Make Augusta your next getaway. Find events and cozy B&Bs at visitaugusta-chamber.org.
Coming soon, the return of the Defiance Roadhouse. Located on Highway 94 along the Missouri River, this long-standing fixture is known for its biker-friendly atmosphere, live music, and decades as a beloved community gathering place. Rev your engines and stand by for the grand opening, early September. The Roadhouse is back.
Fall means the return of Mizzou football. And this year promises another great season of SEC action. There's no better place to catch every game than Harpo's in Chesterfield. With its excellent sports bar atmosphere and the best patio in West County, Harpo's is your Tiger headquarters. Harpo'sSTL.com.
Everyone deserves a safe place to call home. Cedar Oak in High Ridge is a unique ministry providing more than just shelter. They offer hope, support, and a compassionate community for individuals rebuilding their lives. Since 2023, they've helped those facing housing challenges, especially when addiction has been part of their journey. At Cedar Oak, you'll find personalized care, empowerment, and real long-term solutions. Take the next step. Visit cedaroak.org. Cedar Oak, where new beginnings take root.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. An American girl wins Olympic gold, but later is told she might never walk again.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Great stuff in that last segment with Larry Connors from Larry Connors USA. Also the weekend forecast there from Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. If you missed it, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy this weekend. So be prepared for that and keep yourself cool, because it's just going to get hotter and hotter over the next few days. In a few minutes, we're going to be joined live in studio for a little Friday fun time and to continue to get you ready for the weekend and wrap up this busy week with the executive producer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Also, the executive producer of the Randy Tobler Show, which is every Saturday morning here on News Talk STL. Producer Jerome is going to be live in studio with us to talk about some issues and have a little Friday fun time with us. Very much looking forward to that. First, as I mentioned, we're talking about the president being involved back in the news here in the last 24 hours with his executive orders regarding birthright citizenship and birth tourism, and the expectation that there will be another legal challenge to those executive orders, much like we saw the last time. Here, this is how I know they're spying on us. Look, you look up at the television and they're talking about the same thing that we're about to talk about. They heard me teasing this, Johnny, and now they want to jump
Stole
in
your
and,
thunder.
Yeah, steal our thunder. Also, speaking of the president running into legal issues with one of his plans, a panel of federal judges ordered construction on the White House ballroom to stop. President Donald Trump said he will immediately appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. In a Truth Social post today, Trump decried the 2-1 decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit as, quote, horrendous, politically motivated, and unlawful. He said, quote, the circuit court's decision, which is totally wrong on the vital subject of standing, standing all caps, of which the plaintiff has none, severely jeopardizes the lives and welfare of the people who work and will be working at the White House, including all future presidents of the United States and their families, as well as the lives of all those visiting, such as heads of state and other dignitaries, and all Americans who wish to visit the historic, beautiful executive mansion, Trump wrote in a post. That was also one sentence, by the way. It's just something I like to point out and have some fun with every now and then. He also accused the court of refusing to acknowledge that the ballroom, which he said is being built ahead of schedule and under budget, is a gift from President Trump and great patriots of the United States of America. There will be no expense to the American taxpayer. This unjust decision must be overturned by the Supreme Court in its entirety, Trump said in the Truth Social post. The appeals court today upheld a lower court decision that paused above-ground construction of the proposed 9,000 square foot White House ballroom project, which replaced the demolished East Wing. The earlier ruling allowed work to continue on the underground national security facilities and certain safety and security measures, a decision the higher court also upheld. The appeals court said in its 136-page ruling that the decision to build a massive ballroom lies with Congress, not the executive branch. Judge Patricia Millett and Brad Garcia wrote the majority opinion, remarking that there is no precedent for what Trump has done. Quote, "We are aware of no instance in American history in which a president unilaterally and using privately collected funds demolished substantial portions of the White House that Congress authorized to be built and American taxpayers paid for until now." Well, okay, here's my problem with that. Yeah. If there was going to be hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money used on this project, then I can understand why it does need to be Congress and there needs to be more people involved, and you can't just unilaterally make that decision. But the fact that essentially Trump is paying for this himself, along with, some donations or however the money was collected by other people that are donating to the cause, from the very beginning, he's talked about how this is his gift to the White House, and it's being completely privately funded. Now, that doesn't mean that he can do whatever he wants, and you just build. If a president's rich, he can come in and do whatever he wants. There needs to be obviously some oversight about what's going on here. We don't want to build, a big giant Donald Trump statue on one side of the White House just because Trump can pay for it. But that's not what this is. This is and you can look at the plans and you can look at how this is a ballroom, and then also underground a big, addition to the security measures and adding more space and capability and resources for security and things like that at the White House, underground. But a ballroom that functions for a very legitimate purpose at the White House, which entertains world leaders for state dinners and things like this, and they, can have this ballroom to hold these events. And by the way, Trump's not, look, I know that Trump is an egomaniac and very selfish in many ways, but in this case, with this ballroom, he's not going to be the one that benefits from it, mostly. By the time it's done, he's going to be almost done. He's only got a couple years left. This is something that is going to be way more of a benefit for presidents, including, unfortunately, Democratic presidents, in the future, to have these facilities there at the White House. And for this type of thing that is a legitimate need and provides a legitimate service and a legitimate positive that is productive for the White House and the White House grounds, for all of that to be built without taxpayer money? You know what this is the kind of stupid thing that we would do in the United States normally, and what might happen here if we don't do something about it, is that people realize that this is a great idea. The White House does need a big ballroom facility and these security things down underground and all of this, and that it is something that we should move forward with. But we can't let Donald Trump pay for it. We're going to have Congress pass a bill and make the American people pay for it with taxpayer money. That's the kind of dumb thing that we do, usually. And just because there's no precedent that says that this has ever been done before, is there a precedent that says it can't be done? Because if not, then why is that the automatic decision here? I just have a feeling that if Barack Obama, in all of his greatness and graciousness, had been able to build something like this for the White House, that everybody would have fallen all over themselves and, oh, what an unbelievable gesture and what a man to build this without the cost on the American people. Or if Joe Biden would have done it, oh, what a great thing. Just because it's Trump that wants to build the ballroom at no expense. Look, I don't care. I don't care about the ball. I don't care, really, when we got all these other things going on. But when you look at this and you know that the only reason that this is even a thing, the only reason that this is being tied up in court in being stopped is because people don't like Donald Trump, so he can't even build a ballroom on the White House grounds, is a joke. It's ridiculous. And if we end up getting stuck with the bill because we just don't want Donald Trump to give the United States a gift, give me a break. Prove to me that it would have been different if this would have been Barack Obama or Joe Biden doing this, and maybe I'll have a different take. But I don't see that being the case whatsoever. So, as it stands right now, after this ruling today by this Court of Appeals in D.C., Trump's ballroom is being paused. Trump is asking for the Supreme Court to step in immediately to do something about it. So, there you go. We are going to wrap things up here on this Friday afternoon, tie up all the loose ends on the news of the week, get you ready for your weekend, and have a little Friday fun time before we hand it off to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show, today featuring the great Dr. Randy Tobler. That's coming up at 4 o'clock, Friday fun time with producer Jerome from Mike Ferguson in the morning and that Randy Tobler show. He's going to join us live in studio next.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
Oh, welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Johnny, who's been in all week. Thank you very much, Johnny, for all your help this week. Johnny is with me every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. He's the executive producer of the Bluff City Outdoors Show with local professional fisherman Mike Marfell, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, Mark McMurray, and myself.
Glitter boat owner, Mike.
You know it, baby. So make sure you tune in every Saturday morning for that. Speaking of Saturday morning programming, the Randy Tobler Show with Dr. Randy Tobler is every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. The doc is actually going to be filling in for Tim and Chris here during the Tim and Jones and Chris Arp Show at 4 o'clock, so he'll be with us in just a few moments. And every Saturday morning on that show, you can also hear producer Jerome. You can hear him every morning with Mike Ferguson and Susie Moore on Mike Ferguson in the morning. And he is also the producer of Larry Connors USA, one of the busiest men in all St. Louis media. And he's in studio with us now.
Don't let Larry hear you say that. He refuses to let me call himself his producer. I am his director.
The director of Larry Connors USA and the executive producer of Mike Ferguson in the morning and the Randy Tobler Show. So I want to get into some of the fun stuff, Friday fun stuff. But you and I haven't had a chance to talk in a long time about some of this stuff on the air. And so as we wrap up this super busy week, I wanted to touch base with you on a couple of things quickly. But one that I know is something that you guys have been talking about a lot as we have, the Anthony Fauci situation and whether or not and listen to the bigger point of, here's a guy who we know from his diaries, we've caught him lying. We knew already that he was lying. We knew already that he misled the American people during the pandemic. But now we have the diaries to prove it. We finally get a chance to have him pinned down in a courtroom, and he pleads the fifth 111 times. And much like others, here's the larger point that I'm talking about. We had that show with Fauci. We've seen the same with people like Hunter Biden and James Comey and the Clintons. Are we ever going to see any of these people held to account? Despite the fact that we have the proof of their lies to the American people, is anything going to happen?
It started off so uplifting and so happy. I don't want to ruin everybody's weekend by telling them no.
Yeah, but the answer's no.
The motto is, it's fine for me, not for thee. And we are the thee, unfortunately. No, I do think that the damage to his reputation, and especially in the public opinion, it's unrepairable at this point. Susie Moore actually made a great point on Mike Ferguson in the morning that despite the federal pardon, there are a lot of states right now eyeing what can we get Fauci with right now. And so pleading the fifth may have not been just to say, well, I don't want to finally tell the truth. I mean, we already have the diary. We already know experts and other people have already been talking about stuff. So we know enough that we were right, that we were lied to during the entire COVID lockdown. But now is this a setup now to prevent the states from being able, because the federal pardon is not going to protect them at the state level.
Right.
So I think that might be part of the play right now, is that they might be thinking, okay, well, we're untouchable up here, but how many different states that have had irreparable damage dealt to them for multiple years? How many of those people will actually have an attorney general to say, okay, no, let's put our charges against them now?
Yeah, I hope to see that, and I hope Missouri is one of them. In the past, we've had great attorneys general like Eric Schmidt and Hawley and others in the past that have led the way with this kind of thing. We haven't seen as much publicly with Catherine Hanaway, not to say that there hasn't been, but the opportunities to do that. But here is one of those opportunities where Missouri can, as we have so many times with states like Texas and Florida usually alongside, and Tennessee usually alongside, maybe move forward with something like that. So also with this in mind, with the frustrations of Anthony Fauci in mind, with the frustrations of what's happening in Iran, whether you're for or against what the president is doing over there, I think almost everybody agrees that we can't keep doing the same thing that we've been doing, that it's time to either make this a full-blown military effort or hand it off to more of the responsibilities to the other actors there in the Middle East, or something. That what we've been doing with this, constantly being 48 hours away from another deal being made, just every, for the last 4 months, we've been just days away from another agreement. That can't continue. So with all of that stuff in mind, and with these primary elections here in Missouri, at least behind us from this week, now all eyes are on the midterm elections in November. How do you feel about the momentum that the Republicans and the administration has? Because if they hold on to the House and Senate, or they lose the House and Senate, or even one of those, the final 2 years of the Trump presidency is massively different one way or another. So these November elections have tons of importance on these last 2 years of the Trump administration. How do you feel about the president and the Republicans' momentum at this point heading into November?
Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And we've heard Iran is on the verge of collapse. Iran is begging to make a deal. We have something close in the works. They're completely devastated and destroyed. We've been hearing that since pretty much the Operation Epic Fury was launched. And it seems that that's been how many, 4.5, 5 months now at this point.
Yep.
So at some point, it's driving me crazy, whether or not it's insane or not, but it's driving me crazy hearing the same thing over and over again. And I think a lot of Americans are feeling that as well. And I think a good indicator of how America's feeling is when we had Kurt Barr on. He's the election director for St. Charles County. He came on to talk about how secure we feel with the way that these primaries went. And he mentioned that there are areas where they were running out of nonpartisan ballots because people were requesting a record number of nonpartisan ballots because they didn't want to be affiliated with either the Democrats nor the Republicans at this point. And it's not a huge percent. I think Kurt said it was something like 10%, but still, I mean, we were seeing the Democratic Party as of this morning per Pew Research is about 28% registration. The Republicans are right around there, I think at 29 and 28% as well. The largest group gathering, unfortunately, it's not the Libertarians, but independent. People are leaving.
I was going to say, nobody's asking for the Libertarian ballot. As somebody who has asked for the Libertarian ballot many, many times,
yes.
I know what I know the reaction to it. Like, are you sure? Like, what?
So just about 5 or 6 years ago, the independent registration was about 30-ish, 35%. It's currently sitting at about 45%. More new voters are registering independent, and we are seeing a continued decrease of people that used to be registered one way or another, now shifting away from that. And I do think that the war is very unpopular with, I mean, of course, the left hates it because anything Trump does, the left hates, but the way that Trump got into power was through a coalition victory. You had a lot of different right-wing groups that came together that were maybe not necessarily on the MAGA train altogether, but they were willing to work together because we had this idea of no new wars. And even though it's not legally classified as a war, for all intents and purposes, we have been messing around in Iran with what does not seem to really have weakened Iran very much. I mean, they still feel emboldened enough to try to close the strait and to try to do attacks against other bases.
They still talk trash, that's for sure. And the fact that we allow them to do so is part of the frustration. And I just feel like the Trump administration needs to do something in that regard and, just make sure that they are communicating clearly and showing the work that they're doing and the progress that they're making to the American people. Do a better job of that than they are now.
Tag me in.
To head into
Tag me in and I'll figure something out over there.
That's producer Jerome from Larry Connors USA, Mike Ferguson in the morning, the Randy Tobler Show. And as I said, I like to have a little Friday fun time to wrap things up. This is an unfair question that is making a lot of, that's gone viral on the internet. How many inches of your height are you willing to lose for money? So basically, how much would you sell an inch of your height for? Here's an example. And this thousands of people participated in this survey across the country. 19% of people said that they would give up 2 inches of their body height for $300,000. 9% said they'd give up 4 inches for $750,000. 16% said they'd give up 6 inches for $2.5 million. Where we're getting these, why the numbers jump around like that, I have no idea. But here's the thing. You, Jerome, are a tall, strapping young man. You've got inches to give. I'm 5'8". I don't have any inches to give. My inches are much more valuable to me than they are to you. So you giving up 2 inches for $300,000 is not, you're still tall.
Well, you could buy some really nice stilts.
I'm really short if I give up.
But you could buy some really nice stilts for $300,000. I'm just saying. Yes, I have a few inches that I could afford to lose both horizontally and vertically.
I wish I could sell those.
You could just pay me to tell you you're tall.
Yeah.
How much would you sell? An inch? What would it be? What would get an inch shorter? How much would it cost?
Okay, are they taking it from my spinal region or my shins? Where is the height?
That's a good point.
Because I already have stubby legs. My torso is long, but my legs are stubby.
I guess we're just shortening the torso a little bit then. Maybe you get to choose. I don't know. Just take a little bit off the leg length.
Because it's me, I would say I would be willing to sell. About 5 inches. And
for how much?
That's a good question. I guess I
so
don't
this
know.
says 6 inches for $2.5 million.
Oh, that's a really good payday.
Yeah,
that's around 1.75, I guess, on that sliding scale.
Yeah,
I'll be tiny.
Sure.
So then I'll allocate some of that to making my shins longer then, and I'll just have a really
there you
weird.
go. Yeah, use that money to buy more.
You sound like you're building the character crafter at the beginning of a video game.
Exactly. Yes. I just feel like that is an unfair question because, of course, the tall people, they'll sell it all day. When we don't have anything, the short guys, we don't have anything to sell. So
I will sell some of my width, though. I will sell some of my width for a lot cheaper.
Amen to that.
I don't think there's a market for that. We'd be selling out.
One more quick one here before we go. Another not survey, but report that's gone viral on the internet. They've released a list of the most dangerous animals in each state. The website World Population Review put out a list of the most dangerous animals by state, and these are the animals that they say could that have the most effect on literally killing people. in these states. So that's what they mean by dangerous. And, I think a lot of people think of, like bears or alligators or things like that. It's not.
A lot of snakes. Big run on snakes on there.
Yeah, there are rattlesnakes on here. Anybody want to guess on Missouri's?
Platypus. They are a venomous creature. They have claws, but they look unassuming.
Brown recluse.
Brown recluse.
Ticks.
Oh.
Stay away from the ticks. Yeah.
Wait, ticks are insects. Those are not animals.
Are animals not insects? I don't know how that works.
I thought animals were like...
We only have a minute left, so I can't get into that deal.
Okay, I will trust your science then.
I'm trying to call... Let me effort Darwin on the phone.
Science.
You guys are the Bluff City Outdoor guys. I can't argue with you on animal life. Okay.
It's the list. It's the World Population Reviews list. That's whose science we're going by. But it's really interesting because there are a lot of in Georgia, it's the pygmy rattlesnake. In North Dakota, it's the pygmy rattlesnake. In Rhode Island, it's a tiger shark. So it's like some of those.
Wow.
But then in the Midwest, like Iowa, it's wasps. As I mentioned, Missouri, it's ticks. So yeah, there are some really interesting. In Alaska, it's dogs. How about that?
Really? I would have thought
pack
moose,
of wild dogs.
Man's best friend.
Meese or bears?
Yeah, bears are on there for some of the states as well. Jerome, thank you so much. Great to see you, buddy. We'll be listening tomorrow morning to the Randy Tolbert Show and every weekday morning to Mike Ferguson in the morning. And, of course, Larry every day at 6. Keep it here. Tim and Chris next.
Hey, everyone. This is Jesse from Reach Reproductive Health. And I need you to mark your calendar because on October 22nd, it's going to be a big night in St. Louis. It's going to be our second annual Reach Gala, and it's happening at the factory. Incredible live music, powerful